Soundmen, why are y'all so lazy? And why do you always get into it with the musicians? We gotta talk about y'all's job. Hey, and welcome to Music Space, where we help working musicians just like you learn how to quickly and easily make a living with your craft. So if you're new here to the channel, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. That way you'll be notified when new videos are uploaded. So there's a lot to say here, so let's dive right into it. Now, first, I was being a little facetious in the intro. Of course, not all sound people are lazy, and it's not always the sound person's fault that, there's contention between the band members and the sound personnel. That said, I think it's really important that you understand the role that you play as a sound person. You're there to help the band sound their best, not only to themselves, but also to the audience, and ensure the best sound environment possible. Doing this helps the band perform at their best. And to do this, you need to be like an audiophile. You need to be a connoisseur of sound. You need to be able to walk in a room and approximate the treble frequencies that you may occur when you're setting up your sound or doing sound in that room. Are there some boomy frequencies in there between 200 hertz and 400 hertz? And even more general things like the type of room it is. Does it have wood floors? That's going to affect the sound versus if it has carpet. Does it have high ceilings? Things like that. And there are a lot of other things that you as a sound person need to understand when doing sound for a band, and I'll share those things with you. And at the end of this video, I'm going to give you a sort of ultimate behind the scene tip to help you as a sound person or as a sound company differentiate yourself from other sound people and help you stay more in demand. So make sure you stick around to the end to hear that. Now, right before we get into it, if you're getting value out of this video so far, do me a quick favor and subscribe to the channel and like this video. Go ahead and do that now. That lets me know that you appreciate this content, and it lets me know what type of content I should make for you in the future. Now, one critically important thing that you need to know as a sound person when doing sound for a band is that it's not just about volume. So many sound people almost make all of their decisions based off whether or not something is going to be too loud or too soft. You walk into a room and see low ceilings and wooden floors, and you automatically think, oh, I don't need to mic the snare drum. But here's the issue. You don't mic the snare, and now the drummer can't hear himself playing his snare over the loud guitars that are mic'd or coming out of the house. And of course, it's not mic'd, so it's not coming through his wedge or monitor or in-ears. So now the drummer plays the snare drum louder just to be able to hear himself. And then guess what? Now everything is loud. And now your concern about volume in the room has manifested. It's loud anyway. And this leads me to the next point. It's about sound control. So in that same example, if you mic the drummer's snare drum and you turn it up in his monitor or in-ear monitors, he will intuitively not play it as loud. And then you as the sound person have more control over the sound that's going out. Now, of course, there are some exceptions to this, like if you're in an extremely small space or something like that. And even in cases like that, the sound coming from a small wedge is going to contribute to the volume in the room. But in most situations concerning doing sound for a band, what you're going for is control. Now, another thing about doing sound for a band is understanding that it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. Not only is every room different, but musicians tend to hear themselves differently in every different room that they play in. And this affects the way the musicians play. I know your Behringer X32 or your Midas 32 or your Allen & Heath Q16C has the recall settings on the digital thing where you can just hit the button and pull up recall settings, and that's great. But you need to be prepared to tweak those parameters every time you're in a different room doing sound, even if you're doing sound for the same band. And this is why taking time to do a thorough sound check with the band is necessary. A lot of sound people skip over that thorough sound check and just make sure they got, decent levels coming into the board, and then they try to tweak as the band goes, and sometimes that works. But you need to be able to tweak those settings and customize them to the band that you're playing or that you're doing sound for. And also, sound people, and this is extremely important, you have to stay alert and attentive the entire gig. There shouldn't be any cases where something happens like there's a sound issue on stage or one of the band members is having an issue with this sound and you're nowhere to be found, or you're looking off into the distance somewhere, not paying attention to the band. And I know it's really easy to get distracted, especially when you've been sitting there for a while and no problems are happening and everything seems to be running smoothly. I know it's easy to get distracted, but you have to focus on paying attention and being alert to the needs of the band that you're doing sound for. And another thing, sound people, please, please, please upgrade your equipment regularly. If you have direct boxes that are falling apart, or your cables are janky, or you got to keep duct tape on your mic stands just for them to stay up, or that horn is blown out in your speaker, get that stuff fixed, taken care of, or replaced. You don't have to go out and buy the most expensive stuff out there. Just make sure the stuff works properly. There's nothing worse than having a loud buzz come out of the house sound the entire night because the ground switch on your DI box doesn't work. So make sure you take good care of your equipment and fix it or upgrade it when it's necessary. Now, that ultimate tip that I promised you at the beginning is something that's so simple, I'm really surprised that a lot of sound people overlook it or simply don't do it. And it's this. And it's something that I sort of hinted at earlier. But what you need to do is create custom mixes for each band that you do sound for, such that they sound different sonically, even if slightly. And this has a lot to do with how you EQ each band you do sound for, but it's more in the nuances and the things like the icing on the cake, like the reverb and the delay and the effects that you use that are different for each band you do sound for. So as an example, what you can do is listen to the lead vocalist of the band and create a custom sound to enhance that lead vocalist. So if you got a full power, full voice, Aretha Franklin type singer, bring out that power in their voice with some EQ and effects. Make it so that the people all over that room, in the back, front, and the sides, feel that power when that vocalist sings. Or as another example, does the band overall have a more dark sound? Well, as a sound person, enhance that dark sound and that dark style for them. And when you do this, not only does the audience feel and love the music and the band even more, but the actual band members start to love you too. And those two things are what's going to make them want to hire you again, and it's what's going to keep you in demand as a sound person. And this is how you be a professional sound person. But the question is for you. What are some things that you think that sound men need to understand about doing sound and being professional as a sound person? Jump down in the comments and let me know. I definitely want to hear your thoughts on that. And hey, did you know that there are a bunch of free resources that I've put together just for you? Everything from a free ebook that gives you 10 tips on how to make more money as a musician, to contract templates that you can use to book high-paying gigs, to set list templates, and much, much more. And again, it's all free, and you can find the links to download them in the description of this video, so be sure to jump down and check those out. And listen, thank you so much for watching this video. I really do hope that it was helpful for you and it gave you some insight on being a professional sound person. And here are some other videos that you can check out right now.